Now, Juventus kick off in a few hours against Verona, Gab. Nico Gonzalez is on board, and Atalanta's Koopmeiners is apparently on his way too. Can they challenge for the title this year?
Ooh, that would be something from Thiago Motta. I mean, look, a brand new midfield with Thuram and Koopmeiners and Douglas Luiz. Nico Gonzalez, I think, is an extra dimension out wide. I think he's a phenomenal footballer, supplying the crosses. I think they're going to be really, really good. And the question is, to what degree do they buy into the whole Thiago Motta ethos? That for me is the big question. I mean, I think finishing second or third is already progress, and the fact that they've changed their mentality with these younger players and with the style of play. I also, since we're talking Juve, we should talk Federico Chiesa as well. He's in that Osimhen bucket, left to train for himself. We talked to him on the last show. He's got a year left. He makes a lot of money. What does he do? He's been linked to Barcelona. The last thing Barcelona need is is that guy. I mean, he's a good player. I think this is a situation where if he doesn't move, this is where you expect the club to be grown-ups and say, okay, Federico, you're here. It's in your interest to play. It's in my interest, even though everybody says, ooh, Thiago Motta doesn't want it because they just dump it on Motta. Thiago Motta wants a fit Federico Chiesa. Yeah. Of course he does. Who wouldn't, right? Especially if you're It's not like you've got Mbappe and Doku on the wings, right? So you become grown-ups about him and you reintegrate him in the squad, and I think he can do a job for you as long as he stays fit. It's his interest to be better.
And he does what the coach wants. Because that's what happens sometimes with players that want to get away. You reintegrate them into the team, but then they don't do what the coach wants. They go disappear somewhere else.
I don't think Federico Chiesa particularly wants to get away. I think he wants a contract extension, which he's not going to get because he makes stupid money, and he's always and he has a poor injury record. But there's a very good player there, and this is one that's going to evolve between now and the window shutting Friday night. Jamie Giddens scores twice for Borussia Dortmund as Nuri Sahin gets off to a winning start against Eintracht Frankfurt. Robbo, were you impressed?
Yes, very much with Gittins and these goals. I mean, the first one was a great counter-attacking goal. He made a couple of good decisions. He's got plenty of pace and power. I'm surprised he didn't get more game time in last season. Whenever I went to Dortmund and saw him play, he often came on as a sub, and he changed the game in certain ways. And I'm thinking, why doesn't he start the game, whereas some of the other players that weren't affecting the game got starts? So I was very impressed. I'm pleased he's done well, and they were two excellent goals.
You're impressed with him, or were you impressed with Dortmund, though?
I was impressed with him. In Dortmund, they conceded one or two chances as well.
Yeah, one or two. With that Faris Chahidi thing, honestly, early miss of the season. Yeah. The XG 0.84, something stupid like that. There was no Guirassy, but no. I don't think they're smooth at all. I think it's going to take a while.
Dortmund aren't going to be challenging for the title, I don't think.
You've got 5 new players who are all going to play big roles. 4 of them were there. Guirassy wasn't. Shine has his work cut out for him, I think.
Now, Gab, you and Jules told us about Pablo Dybala was on his way to Saudi Arabia. Instead, he's still at Roma. But that didn't help much as they lost at home to Empoli 2-1. Is that the first time that Empoli have been there and won? I think I heard that said somewhere. What did you make of his decision to stay?
Yes, there's 2 separate pieces. I mean, Roma's performance, they need to move the ball quicker. It's fine to be attacking, but if you're going to do that, if you're going to take chances, you have to zip the ball around. Dybala staying is interesting. Some people are wondering whether that $25 million a year offer for over 3 seasons for Al Qadsiya was even real. I think it probably was because we know the agent who put it together, Fali Ramadani, and he has a really big rep. I don't think he needs to make things up. Equally, would Roma have rather had the money than play Dybala's wages this year? I don't know. I don't know how Dybala and Matthias Sule, for example, are necessarily gonna work together, given that they both like to go over to that left hand side. Also, Dolphbeek needs crosses, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And do those guys deliver you crosses in that way, or are they different sorts of players? I don't know how well this team fits together. Look, it's great. And Dybala right now, they paint it as like, oh, look, he made a decision out of love. He turned down all that money. Yeah, he's still making a ton of money at Roma because his salary, goes way up this year, steps up this season. He gets to live in Rome and play in Serie A. I say this with the greatest of respect. I don't even know what town Al Qadsiya is in Saudi. I mean, I don't know if it. You know what I'm saying?
It doesn't have the same ring about it as Rome, does it? Really?
No. With all due respect, Robbo, Samu Omorodion scored 8 goals for Alaves last season. And until he couldn't agree personal terms a few weeks ago, Chelsea were willing to spend 40 million on him. Now he's going to Porto for 15 million from Atletico Madrid. Does this make sense to you?
No sense whatsoever. And apart from you'll probably tell me it's about financial fair play and whatever. But in terms of football, I saw Samu play many times for Alaves last season. He had 1 or 2 excellent games. There was other times where he looked very clumsy and not particularly good. How could Chelsea have thought that this was the player?
Well, because they needed to send Conor Gallagher, and you get something in return for him, and it's the magic of amortization.
Yeah, so
it's the Joao Felix
you're now
principle.
explaining the situations, but in terms of football terms, that was never going to be a good signing for Chelsea.
And you reckon he's going to move the needle for Porto? For me, you go from 40 to 50 million. For me, I even Atletico Madrid, right? Why are you spending money on Sorloth? If you need a big, tall striker, why spend money? And you like this guy, why spend money on Sorloth? Why not just have Omorodion there? You can showcase him in the Champions League. If you really think he's that good. In the end, you end up letting him go for 15 million.
Because he's too raw, too inconsistent, and they couldn't trust him. But they're still going to get some money for him. Oh, dear. Yeah, I know you and Jules are big John Textor watchers. His Lyon side lost at home to Monaco 2-0 and have yet to score this season. More worryingly, L'Équipe reports that they need to raise 75 million euros in sales in the last week of the transfer window, or they will be in big trouble with the league.
Yeah, with the league, with the DNCG, I think it is. It's it's like the sort of the control body, France's equivalent of. There's a body that does like kind of their version of PSR. I don't know what to think. I don't know if this is accurate. L'Équipe, obviously, normally very well sourced. If you have to raise 75 million in the last week, or you fall foul of these regulations, and you've spent 35 million on Niakate from Forest. Now I know you're a big Niakate guy.
Oh, absolutely.
But 35 million. That's a lot of money, and it's not just him. They also signed Abner. They signed a bunch of other guys. I'm really wondering, how are you running your club? And then you do this, and then you want to buy Everton, a club which has no history of financial woes and profit and sustainability rule issues, right? To me, this is a big sort of flashing warning sign that they need to. I don't know. Again, I don't. JT, we're not picking on you, but. Honestly, at every turn, Botafogo, like the pretending, like the Blitzer and Harris offer you 155 million for your shares, and no, but you value the club at something stupid, and you want a lot more money. Dude, like, relax, get some perspective here, and I'm sorry if you need to go and cobble this money together, you can take over Everton. Where are you going to lead Everton in the situation they're in?
Not very far.
I mean, I don't know. Again, if there's a good explanation, you got a permanent invite to join us here, JT, whenever you want. Antonio Nusa comes off the bench to score the only goal for Leipzig as they beat Bochum at home 1-0. Robbo, Arthur Vermeeren is reportedly on his way from Atletico Madrid. Can they kick it up a notch and challenge the season? And then Nusa, is he too raw for you, or are you excited?
I'm quite excited.
He's a game changer off the bench, right? Like Openda and Sesko need a breather. Like,
I mean, they've got a chance this season to improve because they've still got, apart from Dani Olmo, then most of the players are still there. The likes of Sesko and Openda and these sort of players.
And Dani Olmo was injured half the time anyway.
Yeah, right? And he didn't always start games, so I don't think they're losing anything with Dani Olmo going. Orban got himself sent off, which is not good. But
in the stupidest way too.
Yeah,
and then didn't he go and pretend he had a cramp afterwards? Like, oh yeah,
But Leipzig, they showed when they played against Real Madrid in the Champions League last season over the two legs, although they lost, they were the better team. They can, on their day, be a very good side. They were inconsistent last year, didn't play on the front foot quite enough. I thought they were, at times, Marco Rosa got them to play a little bit too defensively. But if they play to their full potential, they'll certainly be in the top four, I think.
I was tempted to ask you, can you think of a better striking duo than Openda and Sesko, other, of course, than Lautaro and Thuram? But that's an easy question because I don't know if there are other front twos.
No, there are not too many front twos.
There aren't too many, are there?
The one that was outstanding a couple of years ago was Lukaku and Lautaro Martinez. That was the best in world football at the time. Now, Take Kubo scores late as Real Sociedad beat Espanyol 1-0. Gab, Mats Hummels is close to joining them as a free agent. Does he move the needle at all?
So, Real Sociedad haven't looked good this year, I thought. It's a romantic choice, if you will. Like, I don't think Hummels was that bad last year. What I'm not 100%, obviously, you bring leadership and experience and a bit of grit at the back.
A big ego as well?
A big ego. I think when you move to a different country, to a different reality, like Hummels has been accused of having a big ego because he spoke out of turn and upset Borussia Dortmund and whatever. But he does that because he knows Borussia Dortmund. He looks around him, right? He sees like Terzic does this, the club does that. He's like, guys, I've been here, I've won everything. I know this league, I know this club. I'm going to speak out. When you go to Real Sociedad, you're in a different reality. I would hope Hummels is an intelligent guy. I would hope he has a humility to come in and say, like, big ego, what? Like, this is a club. They've been very successful without me. I'm going to come in. I'm going to enjoy the ride.
The trouble is, I've watched him over the last couple of years, and he hasn't had a lot of pace for a few years, but he gambles. He's a big gambler defensively. So he'll make great interceptions. You think, he's made a good interception there, and he's got in front of the forward there. Then you see when he makes the wrong decision or gambles and it turns against him, he's miles out of position and can be a real liability.
Is that especially so true for how Real Sociedad play?
It could be. So if I think he just plays for himself at times. I'm going to look good by making a bang. I'm going to win a header that nobody else will win. But then if he gets beaten, then he's 30 yards out the play, and that happened on a couple of occasions last season.
Channeling his inner Sergio Ramos.
Yes.